Are you tired of spinning your wheels creating content over and over again? In this video, I want to show you how you can reuse content, and in particular, how I reuse one piece of content 12 times. Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Kat, biz coach and integrator for creatives, and I am so glad you are watching my channel. Today, we are continuing on with a conversation around content planning and specifically reusing content. So last week, I kind of opened up behind the scenes look at my business and showed you guys how I am planning my content for Q2. You guys loved it. I got some great questions. And so I thought for today's video, we could talk specifically about what it looks like to reuse content. As y'all know, as online business owners, we're constantly creating content, and sometimes we can just feel exhausted. I love content planning, but I don't want to create content for content's sake. I want to create content that's really strategic. I want to create content that's something I love to create, that's fun for me, but that my audience is also asking for. And I want to help you find ways to reuse the really good content that you are creating. So for today, let's break down how do you create a content plan that allows you to reuse content. Now, before we dive in, I do want to remind you guys that I have a brand new product in my shop, a content planning bundle. I'm excited about this product. It's filled with some templates and resources and additional masterclass, all talking specifically around content planning in your business. So if you're struggling with content planning, if you need that extra little boost, go check it out now. Okay, so when diving into content planning in your business, you want to make sure that you have one piece of core content. This is foundational for any business, whether you are a service-based business or a product-based business. I want you to think about what is your core content. So right here, I'm gonna put core right here in the middle. Now your core content could be a couple of different things. Your core content could be YouTube. So let's make some examples of like what it could be. It could be YouTube, it could be blog, it could be podcast. Those are some great examples of core content. Core content is typically like the meatiest content. It is chock full of information that you want your audience to know. So whether it's long form, again, blog post written out, or whether it's video or podcast, you want to have that core piece of content. And then we want to reuse this content on a variety of platforms. Now, old school marketing, old school being like, 2-3 years ago, we used to talk about the hub and spoke method. So what that means is if this piece of core content is the hub, it's like the middle of the tire, and then all of the spokes are going out. So I want to use that strategy here, but we're going to tweak it slightly because it's 2020 and marketing has changed. Platforms that we're using in our marketing have changed. And so I need you to adapt, right? Like marketing is our lifeblood and we need to adapt to the changes and the new things that are happening on the marketing scene. So we're gonna use the hub and spoke model, which I'm gonna show you this diagram, but we're gonna talk through how can we tweak it ever so slightly to make 2020 algorithms on all of those platforms happy. So we've got our core content here, and again, you can decide what you want that to be. And then with our hub and spoke system, we are going to decide, okay, where is this going? What else are we, like how else are we sending this content out there into the world? So I'm just gonna put like a couple of spokes on my little wheel here. Some of them are not straight. I can't even do a straight line on an iPad, you guys. What is my deal? Anyone else relate? Okay, so one of the things might be, whoops, let's make it, let's do this. Emails. You're gonna send out a newsletter. One of them is gonna be IG story. One is going to be Reels. Maybe you're also on TikTok. And then maybe let's say that your core content is YouTube. Like we're talking about this on YouTube. So let's say that YouTube is the core. So then a blog is another great way to share about it. Writing is hard. Okay, here we go. So we've got your core content is YouTube, and then the traditional hub and spoke model is the core content is YouTube, and then you're going to send that out to all of these various platforms. You're going to say, okay, the new YouTube video is live, so there needs to be an email, there needs to be an Instagram story, there needs to be a reel, there needs to be a TikTok, and there needs to be a blog. And those things would point back to the YouTube video. That is a good strategy, right? Your YouTube video is like your meat and potatoes. It's the juiciest information. You want people to watch it. You want people to see you on video. However, again, we have to think with the 2022 mindset. And now all of these various platforms, they have their own algorithms. They have things that they want you to do. So, for example, Instagram, specifically thinking through Instagram story and Instagram reel. Instagram wants you to play the Instagram game. Instagram doesn't want you to send people off of Instagram. Instagram wants you to keep people on Instagram. So you need to think through, how can you still take that core content and reuse it, but maybe instead of pointing people back to the YouTube video, you're just sharing a tip from the YouTube video right there in the reel or right there on stories. And you're not necessarily throwing up a link button or doing a call to action that says, go watch this now. You're trying to play that Instagram game. You want engagement right there on Instagram. You want people to see that tip from that YouTube video, pull one tip out, throw it into a reel, and there it lives evergreen on Instagram. Or put it into stories, and then you can, be able to nurture and engage with your audience on that day right there in stories. So think about how you can still have this core content. Like, I still want you to have the meat and bones and to spend your time creating that content that you know is really juicy and really good and really strategic for what you're offering and what your audience wants. But you want to make sure that you're playing the game of all of these other platforms. You also want to be careful to, in my opinion, not just have a blog as your core content. I actually don't think it's helpful for you right now in 2022 to make the blog the core. I think that your blog needs to be secondary, but the core content needs to be something that's easier for your people to consume and also easier for people to find. People aren't Googling as much as they used to just to look for blogs. Maybe if you're watching this and you're an SEO expert, you would beg to differ. Please leave me a comment if you don't agree. But I just don't think they're Googling as much. I think they're searching on Pinterest. They're looking on Instagram. They're looking on YouTube. They're looking at some of these other platforms. And so it's better for you to have that core piece of content be something that plays with one of those platforms a little bit better. I do still use a blog in my business. I still think that there is value in blogging, and that's like a whole nother episode we can talk about. But for me, my YouTube video is my core, and then I've got a blog talking about the YouTube video. I have found that the blog is really helpful for my warm audience. So warm audience is somebody who is already familiar with me. Maybe they've been following me on Instagram for a while, or they've been watching YouTube videos for a while, and they go to my website and they want to just sit there and scroll through the blog and read as much as they can. And the blog is going to give them all of that information that they need. But in terms of searchability, in terms of new people finding me, in terms of wanting to just play the 2022 marketing game and show up on video a little bit more, YouTube is the core. And then I also have them on the blog. So, little side note, something to think about. Maybe one day we'll do an episode all around blogging in 2022. If you guys want that, let me know. Okay, so what does this all mean? Like this, hopefully you're tracking, hopefully like all my scribbles make sense with, okay, we've got our core and we're pushing that out to various platforms, and we're also playing the game that the platform wants us to play. But how do I then take this and say, all right, Kat, I know, your core is YouTube, you're gonna have a blog, you're gonna have stories and reels and TikTok, you're also gonna make sure it's shared on Pinterest. how do you do that? How do you schedule that out? Let's look at a calendar and let's do that. So I'm just gonna scroll up here. I've got my quarterly calendar popped in here. I'm using an app called GoodNotes. I love this app so much. We'll make sure that we link it for you guys. I'll also link the calendar. You can print out the calendar, as you can see behind me. You can also use it digitally like this. So for the sake of this video, we are going to create a content plan right here, utilizing that strategy that I just talked about. So let's put over here in our notes, let's say that we know core is YouTube, okay? Core is YouTube, and then secondary, all of those other places that we want to push it out to, we're going to do IG 3 ways, because we've got posts, we've got stories, and we've got reels. You also are using TikTok. You're also using Pinterest. You're also putting it on your blog, and you're sending an email. Are you overwhelmed? Does this list feel overwhelming? I'm gonna show you how to do this really easily, you guys. Okay, so say you are doing a new YouTube video every single week. So let's say that Thursdays is your YouTube video day. We know YouTube is Thursdays. And the day that the video goes live, you also, I'm just gonna label the first one for us. The day the video goes live, you also want to have an email go out. So you want your list to know, hey, there is a new video. So let's do that here. Email. We also want to share immediately on Instagram. Instagram is like your biggest hub. You want to make sure that you are sharing immediately on Instagram. So let's do that one on that day. And we are going to make this one a story. So I'm just going to put story. So automatically, you know, on Thursdays, you've got a YouTube video going out, you've got an email going out, and you've got a story going out. You also want to make sure that it is on your blog. So we're going to make one for blog is going to be Fridays. Fridays is the day that your blog goes live. And so you take that YouTube video and you put it on your blog. So let's do blog. You also have a reel that talks about the video. So let's do that, reel. And then we're gonna do another reel on Tuesdays. So you're gonna do a reel on Fridays and then on Tuesdays. Reel. And then I guess let's put Pinterest on Fridays, knowing that your blog and Pinterest are in like a similar vein because you're sharing the blog to Pinterest. So Pinterest, that's happening on Fridays. And then let's see, whoops, we're not gonna label all of them. Okay, so let's look back at our content here. We know we've got YouTube. We know we've got some Instagram, Pinterest, blog, and email all taken care of, but we wanna have more Instagram posting and more TikTok posting around this. So let's look at what our schedule could be like. We could do, stories again, and then a post. So you could say story, and then you could say post. And maybe you also do stories that day. Maybe that's like a double day. You like to get on stories a good bit throughout the week. That's really fun for you. Your audience loves it. So you can add in stories to that day. And then let's also add in TikTok. So on this day, maybe you're just starting out with TikTok, guys. I'm not even on TikTok. Whoops. But maybe you're just starting out with TikTok and you're going to do one day a week, you're going to post something to TikTok. Like that's what you're doing. But see what we've done here, you guys. We've taken one YouTube video and we've said, okay, that piece of content we're putting in how many places? Let's see. That piece of content we're putting in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 places for one piece of content. And then you can rinse and repeat that the very next week. So then the next week you have a new YouTube video that goes live with that email, with that story. The next day it's a blog, it's a reel, it's Pinterest, and it just carries on throughout the rest of your month. So if I were to finish filling out this month for us, we've got stuff happening all the time. So now all of the sudden that core content is being reused appropriately all throughout your month. I hope that is helpful. I hope that makes sense. I want to do this one more time though, because I know that not all of you are consistently putting out content every single week. And I don't want you to walk away from this video and think that the only way to reuse your content is to create content this consistently. It might not be realistic for you right now to create content every single week. So there are ways that you can create foundational content, core content every month, and be able to reuse it all month long without feeling like you have to have that new video or that new podcast every single week. So let's do an example of twice a month you're pumping out content. Twice a month you have brand new content ready for your audience. That's what I would recommend. I really don't want you to do anything less than twice a month, every other week. That's my challenge to you. So, okay, let's take a look at the month of May, for example, and let's kind of I want to do this, but I want to do it simplified if you're not necessarily doing new core content every single week. So let's keep it with Thursdays and let's keep it with YouTube. But let's say that, so over here, basically we're going to keep this the same. I'm going to keep this the same for this month. Okay. We're just going to do less of it and we can still reuse everything that we want to reuse. So on Thursdays, we're going to do YouTube. And we know YouTube. So now what else needs to happen? You are going to maybe let's simplify it even more. Because again, I really want to break this down for those of you that are maybe just getting started with content creation, or realistically, you're a solopreneur and you don't have as much time to do all the things. And it can sometimes feel like you're being told to do all the things. Here's your permission slip. You don't have to do it all, okay? So I want to encourage you 2 pieces of core content a month and then at least 1 newsletter, all right? That's important. What you could do that's a little bit different is, so what I do, I follow a schedule similar to what we just did for the month of April. I'm releasing new core content every single week. And that email is very much a CTA email, CTA being a call to action. It's saying, go watch this video, go read the blog. Like, it is pointing to that core content. My emails are typically like 1 to 2 paragraphs. They're not super long, pretty straightforward and to the point, and wanting my list to go consume the core content that I just created. That's the strategy that I use. That doesn't mean that you have to use that strategy. Something else that you could do, something I've done in the past that has worked, is a monthly newsletter. So rather than a weekly email or a bi-weekly email, you could say, let's do, at the end of every month, let's send out a newsletter that's telling my people what's happened that month. Let's pointing to the blog, but maybe also sharing a personal story or giving them an extra little tidbit of juicy information. We used to do this with Creative at Heart, the conference brand that I host, and it was a really fun monthly newsletter. We even sent out like a Spotify playlist every month. So there are fun things you can do with just doing a monthly newsletter. So let's say for this second example, we're doing 2 pieces of core content a month, and instead of an email every single time the core content drops, we're gonna do 1 email at the end of the month pointing to both of those things. So let's come back here and then we'll say it's going to be the end of the month, that this will be an email. an email. So we know you've got your videos going live. We know you've got an email. I also want to recommend that that video is going out on your blog. So what color did we use for blog? We used the orange. So or like that peachy color. Whoops, too many things. So we are also gonna make sure that you've got a blog going out that is about that blog. And then now we want to make sure that we're sharing it on Instagram. So the first day that the video goes live, we are going to do Instagram. We're also going to say that your overall Instagram strategy is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing. Obviously, you're going to share on Thursday when the video drops, but you're more active on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for this example. That's what we're going to say. So this is going to be story graphics. You're going to throw up some graphics talking about the video. That is not necessarily playing the Instagram game because your graphics are pointing people to go watch the video, but that's okay. I don't think you have to play the Instagram game with every single thing that you post. You do want your audience to know about core content and to point them back to it. On Fridays, you are gonna get on, whoops, we don't wanna delete everything. You are gonna get on stories with your face. You do that every Friday. You like to jump on, you like to share your face, you like to talk to your people. Sorry, this is so messy. Maybe I should have been a doctor because my handwriting is terrible. But you're gonna get on, you're gonna share your face so you can talk about the content. You're also, so wait, we know this is graphic. We also want to have a post about it on Instagram, and then we want to do a reel. So let's see, let me map this out for us. Whoops. And then this is your schedule, you guys. It's really, really easy peasy when you break it down like this. I hope you feel that way. Let's see, let's get the rest of our TikTok in here. And then I will map out the rest of this for you. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are TikTok sharing days because maybe you're really into that and you want to do those several times. You want to do those twice a week. You really enjoy that. You're doing a reel, post and reel. How about that? Reel, post, reel, reel. We've got your email scheduled. And then we know that we've got your stories, your face. So see, here we go. Let's look at our month. Throughout the month, you are posting 2 pieces of core content. You're posting YouTube twice a month on Thursdays. The day that YouTube goes live, you've got Instagram story graphic going out. The next day, you're talking about it on stories, and you've got a blog going out about it. Then the next week, you're reusing this same core content. So this same piece of content is going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 areas, actually 13 areas because we're posting about it too. It's going to 13 different areas. I think at the beginning of this video, I said I would show you how to do it to 12. So there you go, bonus extra one for you. This is how you can take this one video, you guys, and reuse it on all of these areas. And when I say reuse it, I literally mean take that exact content and put it on these other platforms. So once you write the blog about the YouTube video, literally copy paste a portion of that blog. That is for the Instagram post, number 1, and then that's for Instagram post number 2. Then think about what are you sharing in that video? Maybe that video is 3 tips for better branding photos. Okay, well, how can we take one of those tips and make it into reel number 1? And then could we take another one of those tips and make it into reel number 2? Could you also reuse that on TikTok? Probably. So see what I'm talking about with reusing that content. You're not reinventing the wheel every single time you're doing this. You're just taking this one piece of content and making sure that it's getting funneled out to the various places that you want. Still in sometimes pointing back to the core, but also playing the game that those platforms are looking for. And that is what is going to help you stay strategic and engaged with your content strategy all month long. Okay, guys, I hope this was helpful. This was so messy. I'm like looking at this. Oh my gosh, so messy, but I hope it helps you to see a visual and how you can reuse it. And I hope it inspires you to grab a blank calendar, get that quarterly calendar out and think through how can you be strategic with your content calendar so that you are able to reuse your content over and over and over again and not spend quite as much time creating and in terms of that core content, but really be able to see that strategy go into play all month long. Let me know if you have questions, drop them in the comments below, and I will see you guys next week.